for a moment. That asterisk relates to something that was put in place in 2004 as part of the Medicare Modernization Act, something we call income relating. In other contexts, you would call it means testing. In this case, it's called income relating because you're relating the subsidy rate for the premium to the amount of income. The subsidy rate for most people, 75%. But after the 2004 legislation, that subsidy rate starts to decline as your income goes up. So you're relating the subsidy rate to income to where the point where over $426,000 a year, you're still getting a subsidy of 20%. If you stop and think about it, so someone, a senior making a couple, making $500,000 a year, is getting a 20% subsidy still on their Medicare Part B. $500,000 a year, and they're still getting a subsidy on Part B. That tells you that maybe there's something wrong here. If you were to graph this out, just if you're more inclined to pictures as I am, then you get this sort of a subsidy rate where the vertical axis is the rate and bottom axis is the income. And again, you can see going out and out and out to 500,000, a million, 10 million. If you made $100 million in income, you'd still be getting 20% subsidy for Part B. So the basic proposed policy, the direction I think we need to go in to get Medicare to sustainability, is first of all, we extend that phase out to zero. So at some point, seniors are paying the full cost of their Part B, and then apply it to all Medicare. That means apply it to Part D now, as President Bush proposed in 2007, much to his chagrin. He didn't want to do that. And then when Part A goes into deficit and it starts being made up by general revenues, in other words, being subsidized by general revenues, you start to apply this phase out there and then index the bend points for inflation. So we're not just going to fix it, we're going to have it grow with inflation. An example of that is to take that current phase-out system that I described earlier and apply that to all of Medicare. So in effect, we've got that same yellow line, which is the current, the red line here, which is the current, where we continue the subsidy, and when we phase it down to zero. That means you finally get a phase-out using the same sort of step-down at $660,000. $660,000 is when you stop subsidizing Medicare Part B under this sort of system. And again, we're going to apply it now to all of Medicare. If you do that simple application, you knock off $44 trillion of that almost $68 trillion shortfall. So applying something that's currently in law and still subsidizing extraordinarily well-to-do seniors knocks off 2/3 of the target.